All right, so we are ready to make this lovely, gorgeous headband. Now you can see that I am bending the wire because it's a flexible wire, so it's following my lead as I'm bending it. Okay, so the next thing is to fix that on your padded headband. Okay, so I'm just bending it. That's all I'm doing. Now you see, that's how the halo will look. Like I said, don't forget, you can make your halo bigger than mine if you want to. Now that's how it will look. And then the leather flowers will be sitting on one corner, which can be the right or the left hand side. So that's my fishing line. And 0.35 mm fishing line is like the most flexible of all fishing lines. It's like thread, so it serves as invisible thread for me. So thread your needle and then you start attaching. You have to first of all figure out where you want to attach your halo. Do you want it to be a little bit down? Do you want it to be slightly up? When you figure out where you want to attach your halo wire, then you can fix it by that side and then start sewing. That's just basically what I'm going to be doing. And because this is a padded headband, the needle will go in very, very smoothly and come out smoothly. So you're sewing onto the padded headband first, and then also find a way to put your needle into the leather. But if it's not going in, it's fine. You can just sew on the padded headband, go in and out. First of all, I like to secure my thread to whatever surface I'm sewing on. So I have secured my thread, okay, tight. Now I'm going to continue my sewing. Okay, so all I'm doing is just sewing that wire to the padded headband. That's all. Now when you're done, ensure that you sew this really, really tight to the padded headband so it doesn't move. Now when you're done sewing, the next step is to sew the other part before we now add our leather flowers to it. So I'm just tying with my the fishing line, and when I'm done, I'll sew the other part of our halo wire. So ensure that it's sitting the way you want it to sit, and if you're comfortable with it, now sew the wire. All right, as you can see, I have done the other part, and now I want to add my leather flowers to the halo headband. So I'm just trying to figure out what side it will sit on. I want it to sit on the left hand side, just on one corner, not from the middle. I don't want the flowers to start from the middle. So you just put it down and figure out how you want it to sit. Then you can use a chalk to make a marking on it. But first of all, I need to cover the back of that leather flower. We can't leave it like that. So what I'll do is, with a strip of leather, I'll be covering the back of my leather flower. Okay, so I'll be cutting off the excess wire using my plier, and then I will use leather strips which I've already applied a Vosti glue to cover the bottom part of my flower. We don't want the wire showing, so apply a little bit of glue and then wrap round. Okay, so I'll be using the leather strip to wrap the flowers, but I will not wrap all the way down, just a little bit. And when I'm done, I'll cut off, apply super glue and seal the ends. Now let's add it to our halo wire. All right, check out our leather flower, gorgeous. Okay, so we covered halfway. Now I will curve it just like that, just bend it a little. Okay, let's continue. To attach our leather flowers to the halo band, we need our Vosti glue, and then we'll apply some of it on the leather strip. Now apply generously. Now you have to leave it to get dried after application. So leave it to get dried so that it will be strong when you want to use it. Now when it's dried, pick up your leather strip, take your halo headband. That's our halo headband. Now you have to determine where you'll be attaching that flower. Once you have gotten it, if you marked it earlier, that's where I want to attach mine. So now I'm just going to flip it over so you see the way I attach it. Now watch closely, please. Okay, so I flipped it over now. Can you see how I'm attaching it? I bent it earlier. So that part that has the wire still showing is going to be covered by the time I attach the flower to this halo headband. So I'm going to first of all put the leather strip and ensure that it is glued on before I start attaching my leather flower. So I'll wrap that round about once or twice. So that's going to cover the beginning. That's the tip of the strip. Once you're done doing that, the next step is to start adding your leather flowers. I hope you have found this tutorial very useful. I enjoyed making this video for you, and I hope that you will enjoy creating yours. So now I want to start attaching my leather flower, and that's exactly how I'll be doing it. So I've determined where I want it to sit. If you want, you can do this from the beginning of the halo to the end of the halo, but I just want mine to sit on one side, and that's all. So next step is to attach my leather flower. Okay, so you put your leather flower that way or that way, whichever way you want it to, but just understand that you need to attach it on your halo headband, and also ensure that that part that has the wire showing is covered. So there's no big deal in this part. It's all just wrapping with the leather, that's all. So you wrap your feather and you wrap it very, very firmly on the halo. Okay, good. Now let's continue. So I've done the first wrap, but it's not firm. For it to be firm, I have to pass the leather, like go round again. So watch closely to see how I'm going. So I'm going to go round again. Watch closely, please. This part is a little bit tricky. You have to ensure you hold your flower very well so it doesn't slip out of your hands. Okay. All right. So you see the way I'm wrapping. I'm going to go around and come out of the other part. Watch closely, because all I want to do is ensure that my leather flower is sitting very firmly on my halo wire. Okay, so I just want you to see how I'm wrapping it. I'm not just wrapping it anyhow. You have to ensure that the flower is sitting very, very firm on your halo wire. So you see, I'm trying to ensure that my leather is smooth, because it's kind of bending and you might have that issue. So you have to ensure it is spread out very well. So once you do that, I'm going to go round now again. Can you see that in this part where I'm wrapping, I'm ensuring that my flower is firmly secured to the halo headband. Now once you've gotten that part, the rest is easy peasy. So I think my flower is sitting very, very well now. Now I'm going to continue wrapping to ensure that I cover that part that has the wire still showing. Okay, so when you're done with this part, you need to add the second flower. Now for the second flower, I didn't want to give too much of spacing, so it's going to come very, very close to the first flower. So you see, our first flower is sitting pretty. It's now time for us to add our second flower, but first let me ensure that the wire is covered very well. Okay, so I'm just going to put it close to see where I want it to be. So for me, it's perfect there. If you want, you can push yours further down, but for me, this is perfect. Okay, so don't forget that I did not finish up the first one, so I'll be using my super glue to seal that point before I add my second leather flower. Okay, so don't forget, super glue and leather, very dangerous combination, because it's going to glue the life of the leather down. So the next thing I'm going to use is my leather strip again, because I need to ensure that the parts where the wires are completely hidden from the naked eye. Okay, so using my power super glue. Yes, my power super glue, just add a little bit and then now start the wrapping. Okay, so watch closely, please. All right, so remember that the first strip we used to wrap that first leather flower is finished, so like it ended there. The next thing I'll do is take another strip that I cut from my leather, and the reason why I'm cutting shorter strips is because the leather that I got is really small, so, and it's not long, and I really love this leather because I thought it was going to be perfect for this headpiece. Now put that strip on that part where the first strip ended. Now take your super glue after wrapping it and then just continue. So this is how I'm going to continue till I want to add the second leather flower to my headband. Okay, so please watch closely. All right, so this is just the wrapping process, and as I'm wrapping, I'll be adding the second letter flower to see if it's time for me to, wrap it. So that's what I'm doing. I don't want it to cover the first one, so I'm going to take it a little bit lower than the first one. So now it's time for me to add it to that halo band. So watch closely, please. So taking that the same way we did the first one, you can see that they are close. There shouldn't be any gap, and it's not disturbing the first leather flower. So once that's established, the next thing is to now close it up using the leather strip. And don't forget, I said you need to ensure that you wrap your leather flower firmly on the band. This is also applicable to if you're just doing it on an Alice band. Ensure that it is firm, because you don't want a situation where someone tugs at it and it just pulls out. That means you didn't do it tightly. So you need to ensure that it is firm. And that's why you need to ensure you are using genuine leather that's not going to cut at the slightest pull. So all I'm doing is the same thing I did the first time, adding the first leather flower. So just keep wrapping it till you get to the end and ensure that the craft wire you use underneath is covered. I hope we've understood every step it took me to get to this point. But please, if you have any question, do not hesitate to ask me. So all I'm doing is wrapping. That's all. Same thing we did the first time. Okay, so I'm sure you can see now I'm using my super glue again to ensure I hold it very, very firm. Because this is the last part I'll be wrapping. It has to cover the wire. Nobody wants to see your wire showing. So ensure you cover your wire very, very well. And once you're done wrapping your leather leaves, you can also I forgot to say that you can actually attach this directly on the padded headband. Yes, you can. All you need to do is stitch it and ensure you cover your stitches. So now that I'm done adding the flower to the halo band, our headpiece or our headband is almost ready. Now you can rock this for any occasion, for a wedding, or you have a hangout with your girls. You want to look different. I think for me, I always like to look different. So it's either I'm going in a leather headband or a chic headband. All my headpieces always on point. Okay, so we're done. The next thing for you to do is just adjust the leather leaves. Yes, adjust them very well so they're sitting perfectly and beautifully. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, but okay, so you see the way it's shaking. We need to ensure that that does not happen. So in order for that not to happen, I'll be ensuring that the halo band is sitting like that, just like I pressed it close. I pressed it close, and I'll be using my super glue to do that. Okay, so just add a little bit on that spot, just a little. Now the combination of super glue, foam and leather, powerful combination. It's just going to hold it like very, very firm. So you have to hold it down so that it seals it up very, very well. Now for this part, if you want to stitch it to the headband, you are allowed to stitch it too. All you need to do is hold it down and stitch too. But just ensure that you're stitching in a way that your foam doesn't get destroyed underneath the fabric. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other side and then show you what it looks like. Okay, so I just want to add a little bit of super glue there because that place has not sealed up very well. And the thing is this, except somebody is like pulling at your headpiece so hard, that's the only time this is going to come off. It's going to stick like it seals it. When they say aka gum, aradite, exactly. This is aradite for headpiece making. Okay, so when that is dry, you see how firm that is? It's not moving. Can you see that? It's not shaky all anymore. So you have to do the same thing for the second side of your headband. Alright, so for the second side, I'll be doing the same thing, just adding super glue. And now, if you put the super glue or you apply the super glue tacky, it will be tacky. But if you gently apply it, it's not going to show at all. Nobody's going to see it. So I'm just adjusting my leather leaf flowers to sit properly, and my headband is looking super beautiful. Ha 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 ha. Alright, now the next step is to add a Petersham to the inner part of our headband so that we cover all the rough edges, the stitching that we did and everything. So I'll be using the glue gun to glue the Petersham in the inner band area. So first thing, I need to ensure that I seal that part up because it's kind of rough. The thread is pulling out. So using my glue gum, attach it to the tip and then fold in. When you fold in, you press down so that it seals it very, very well. Now when you're done doing that, it's now time for us to start sealing the inner parts where we stitched the fabric to the headband. I hope you have enjoyed this class so far. Please don't forget to ask me any questions on the discussion group, and also follow me on Instagram and on Facebook at Zofa Headwear. Okay, so I'm just trying to trim off the excess and ensure that it's properly sealed. Once that has been achieved, I'll move on to gluing the Petersham to the inner headband area. Okay, so the first thing I do is, don't forget we folded our Petersham in. So place it on the end part of the headband and then apply your UHU if you want to, or hot glue or B7000. So apply it close and then fix the Petersham on that spot. Now, if you're using UHU, please remember that UHU is stronger when it is tacky. The same goes for B6000. You need to wait for the glues to get a little bit dry before using them. But if you're using the hot glue, you know that once you put it, you have to seal it. Once you put it, you have to seal it. So all I'm doing is just putting hot glue on that spot and then applying the Petersham there to cover it. And please always use the cotton Petersham. Don't use the nylon Petersham. The cotton Petersham is better than the nylon Petersham. So let's continue fixing Petersham to the inner parts of our headband. So you just have to be you have to take it easy when you're doing this part. Don't be in a hurry. Don't forget the fabric you use, it needs to be completely covered. Now you can decide to also stitch this part down, but I will stitch with my glue gun because it's also very, very strong. So if you watch closely, you see that I didn't put the glue gun all over. I'm just taking it little by little, step by step, till I get to the end. The goal is to ensure that inner part where we did all of our stitching when we're doing the headband is covered. Okay, so if you watch closely, you see where I'm putting the hot glue to. So please watch closely. I'm putting it on either side, like on each side of the headband, the left and the right hand side. Then a little drop in the middle. So once you do that, you cover up. Then you do that till you get to the end of the headband. Alright, so I'm just applying the hot glue and then gluing the Petersham ribbon to the headband. See you in the next step. Okay, so now we've gotten to the end of the inner headband. So I'm going to cut off and now close up. So this is the final step. Once you cut off, what you're going to do is apply the hot glue to that part where you cut off and fold in, because you want to fold in the rough edges, the excess thread that might be pulling out of the Petersham ribbon. So you fold in and then apply the hot glue again and seal it up. So that is the final step. The same thing we did when we started using the Petersham ribbon. That's exactly what we're going to do now to seal up the end of our headband. Oh, it's been a journey and I hope you've enjoyed every step of this journey. So once I apply that, I'll fold it in. Alright, so after you have folded in, the next step is to finish up. So I'll be applying a little bit of hot glue because it looks like my Petersham ribbon is not sealed. So I'm going to apply that and then cover up the end of my headband. Okay, so please don't forget that if you have any questions at all, I am here to respond to all of your questions. Okay, so I've done that now. It's time to cover up. Cover up, cover up. Please ensure that when you're using hot glue, you make it neat, because nobody wants to see the hot glue dried and looking tacky on your headband and all. So when you're done, just go through your headband, check, is there any place I have to seal? Is there any place I have to ensure is neat? Is there any place I have to make sure is looking good? Once you're done with all of that, your headband is ready to be rocked for whatever occasion you want to wait for, or wait to, or for that client that you want to sell it to. Thank you so much for sticking with me. I appreciate you. I appreciate your patronage. Thank you so much for the support for my business. I hope you've enjoyed every step it took to get to this point. My name is Olufemi Adu, and I look forward to seeing you in our future classes. Once you're done sealing, your headband is ready to be rocked.